Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday, November the 2nd. It's lovely to have you in for another episode of the Prime Time Show. Titans lose yet again, 27-20. It is their closest defeat of the year, if you are somebody who's interested in moral victories. But in the absence of moral victories, yeah, it's another loss in a game that, I don't know what else they can do. They got a punt return touchdown for the first time since 2012, Darius Raynaud. I was a sophomore in college at Indiana University on December the 30th, 2012, the last time the Tennessee Titans were able to return a punt for a touchdown, and they got a pick six today. They also got 6 sacks from the defense. I don't know what more could have been done other than the offense just slightly do its job, and that was not possible today. So the Titans lose again. They're 1-8. They're heading towards the bye. The trade deadline is Tuesday, and we will not have a primetime show. Well, I assume Easton. Is Easton going to do primetime on Tuesday night? I don't know. I'm with all due respect to everybody involved, I check out after today because the bye week is upon us. And I am heading on vacation because just like your football team, I also need a break. And I love you all dearly, but the bye week for a 1-8 football team or the trade deadline for a 1-8 football team is not something I'm terribly interested in sticking around for. So I'll keep tabs and we'll have something for you to engage with while I'm gone. But it's good for everybody to get a chance to take a step back. Titans fans included. I'm sure you're just as frustrated watching this situation play out today. Life with the Joneses on YouTube says the only reason I was at the game today was for my daughter's cheerleading show. Yeah, there was a really fun junior cheer exhibition. Was that before kickoff, if I'm not mistaken? I believe it was. They also had Ben Jones, Titans legend of the game, Ben Jones, do the hype speech before the game even kicked off. So not only are they not doing it before the fourth quarter, not only are they not doing it before the third quarter, they are now doing it before the start of the game because they are so concerned that they are going to lose these games that they don't want to waste people like Ben Jones's time. So we do appreciate that. And I'm sure Ben does too. But we are in a situation where there should be a fire sale, where we are expecting the Titans to try and move as many of these players as humanly possible. The question is who would another team want? Because there's a lot of pieces here that Titans fans want to get rid of, but you do still have to have a taker. So at this point in time, or a buyer at this point in time. So with all of the things, all of the interest in get rid of Calvin Ridley, get rid of Tony Pollard, get rid of Jeff Simmons, get rid of all these different things, you do still have to have somebody who's willing to trade you even reasonably commensurate value on the other side. Now, I don't think that Jeffrey Simmons is going to end up out there. And Mike Florio had a thing today at Pro Football Talk where he said that the Titans were shopping Calvin Ridley. The Titans then refuted that report with all of us saying that Calvin Ridley was not being actively shopped, but to correct the situation and say that they were receiving calls on Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley has an $11.5 million cap hit remaining for the rest of the season. It is reasonable to expect that if the Titans did want to move Calvin Ridley, they would probably have to eat some money. So, as Kathy says, another season ready to forget. Yeah, I know. It's super annoying that they can't do anything. It's crazy. Well, they did things today, but still couldn't win a football game. Teams. Well, why don't we get into the meat of the show, and then we can talk about this because I want to give you guys enough time to enjoy the good football that's being played, like Chiefs and Bills right now. With the Bills, at least last I had it on downstairs, the Bills were clinging to a 1-score lead in that game in the second half, and there are other interesting games being played as well. You had a game with 1,000 yards of total offense between the Bengals and the Bears, in which the Bears came out victorious, as a matter of fact. It's crazy to see that offense is possible literally every other place but Nashville, Tennessee, where the offense today went 1 of 9 on third down. So let's go ahead and dive into this thing. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday night. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the Tennessee Department of Transportation, and to remind you that nobody trashes Tennessee. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com is where you go to be a part of the solution to end littering in this great state. Simon Says Nashville is where you go to dress better. This jacket is not from Simon Says, but you can find all kind of great things at Simon Says. Simon Says Nashville, the premier men's clothing spot. anywhere as far as I'm concerned, but certainly here in Middle Tennessee. True Math Fitness in the Gulch, where you go for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMathFitness.com for more details. And Two Rivers Ford, the always reliable Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service on offer. TwoRiversFord.com for more information today. Okay, 28-13 Bills since I've walked upstairs. So apparently the Bills were able to score a touchdown. I, for some reason, have the Jags Raiders game on, in which the Raiders, the stinky Raiders, are leading the 4-3 Jags. Here, hang on real quick. Red zone. So with all of the things that we witnessed today, we witnessed another Titans loss, and it was a Titans loss that has to frustrate you additionally because they got scores in two out of three phases, but the one phase that didn't score a touchdown today was the offense. The offense was good for 6 points, 2 field goals, one in the first half, one in the second half. Cam Ward, as I mentioned, had a bad day. The offensive line is bad. It doesn't matter, it seems, how many draft picks you spend or how much money you invest into the Titans offensive line situation. They seem to be a cursed unit, and today was not much different. The Chargers were able to get to Cam Ward with regularity and in some cases just outright bum rush him. Because once you get them down by 2 scores, you understand that the Titans are in a situation where they have to drop back to pass. And you know that is not a strength of the Titans offense right now, certainly in pass pro. It was okay against Indianapolis today against the Chargers. Was not indeed the case. And you had confusing play calls. There was a lot of wildcat that was not effective. There were a lot of situations like the 4th and 1 on the goal line, 4th and inches on the goal line, where they just literally need an inch to be able to score a touchdown. They go for it on 4th down. They don't get it. They get stuffed. They're doing the wildcat thing with Tony Pollard on the goal line. It's just bizarre, some of the decisions that they make. And understand that it's easy for us to be critical after the fact once we would have the results in hand, because if the wildcat stuff works, maybe we're looking around and being like, all right, it's like Derrick Henry, King Cat. Maybe this is a tool for them, but just bad. They were not effective on any of these particular wildcat plays that they tried to run today. Belvis on YouTube says Bo Hardagreed, the play caller, needs to go. Yeah, they're all going to go, guys. They're going to get fired at the end of the year. Everybody's getting fired. Like, that's where do you want him to go right now? You just want to fire him for the sake of wanting blood? You have, after we get back from the bye, you have 7 more weeks of this. So yes, Bo Hardagreed will at some point not be on your coaching staff. It is in all likelihood, Bo Hardagreed will not be on your coaching staff. Now, they're all under contract, as you well know. So the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans will get the opportunity to look around at what's on staff and see if there are some coaches, Bones Fossil, for example, that you're interested in keeping. Tyke Tolbert, the wide receiver coach. And you may say, hell with the rest. So, but yeah, like in the meantime, what do you want to just fire people for the sake of firing people? You have to be able to field a coaching staff, even if you don't like them at this point in time. Ked on YouTube says 7 more weeks of hell. Yeah, but we got a bye week in the meantime. So at least we get a break before we come back and finish out the stretch. So now that, we know that this thing has not mattered for some time, but now you start to peel it off even further for parts. And we've talked about trade deadline players before. But the question that I'll ask you, your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is which Titan must to be traded? Which Titan needs to be traded at the deadline? Let me know in the comments section. It's your Two Rivers Ford take, made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford, where they always remind you that you can get a real deal at Two Rivers Ford. You are not going to be upsold. You are not going to be upcharged. The price that you see is the price that you will pay. It's why they've been in business as a locally owned and operated company for over 4 decades. It's just they treat people straight up, treat people fairly, and their sales staff does not pressure you into buying a vehicle that doesn't make sense for you to buy. They don't work on commission, so they are not going to hound you to buy a vehicle just to make a check. They are making a paycheck whether they sell you a car that day or not. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more details. Yeah, the state of Tennessee, unless Memphis won, and I did not see the Memphis game over the weekend, state of Tennessee went over in football this weekend. Vandy, Vols, Titans, all over. So I'm not sure if Memphis won. Memphis is a good football team. But I had not had the opportunity to check the score. Memphis did win. Okay, so 1 for 4 was the state of Tennessee in football this weekend. Not ideal. But congratulations to Memphis for being successful. Vandy still has a path to the playoffs. The Balls kind of shit the bed on Saturday night. That was unfortunate to see, because I would like for football to have meaning in this state, but it does not seem to want to go the way that we want it to at this point in time. So all the things that you saw today, you understand that the trade deadline is now the most important thing. So which player needs to be traded ahead of the deadline? There's a lot of different players that have been brought up. The player that they need to move more than any other player, I think, is Calvin Ridley. And it's not because I think Calvin's a bad guy or a bad actor or a malcontent or a problem. Like, there's nothing from a personality standpoint, there's nothing wrong with Calvin Ridley. Nothing at all. From a performance standpoint, I don't really, Calvin Ridley is not going to be a part of this team's future. There's reason to believe that if he was to stay on this team beyond the trade deadline this year, Calvin Ridley would likely be cut. They have, or at least they have an opportunity to get out from under the contract of him, of L'Jarius Sneed, of Lloyd Cushenberry. Now, they do have to eat more money. They do have to eat about $9 million to cut Calvin Ridley next year. But obviously, they have the cap space to do it, and Ridley has not panned out on a 4-year, $92 million deal. I think it's, at this point, you just have to let the young guys get reps. And Calvin wouldn't necessarily take away from that, but Calvin would eat into targets, because Cam Ward is naturally going to want to get Calvin Ridley involved. And it's not like they couldn't be a better offense with Calvin Ridley in there, with the emergence of Chimere Dike, with whatever. I'm not really sure what we're getting from Malachi Amana right now. It's a standard rookie performance, some highs, some lows. And they are in a spot where they're getting more lows than highs. Alec had a bad drop early in the game. I thought he responded nicely later, but they just still aren't getting enough. So could Calvin Ridley help them convert a couple of third downs? Probably, but not enough to make a meaningful difference. And I don't really care about Calvin Ridley if Calvin Ridley's not a part of this team's future. There's reason to believe that he is not. So if you have to eat money, they have the wiggle room to do it. If you have to take lesser value, like last year, DeAndre Hopkins got traded for a conditional fifth that could become a fourth-round pick if he played a certain percentage of the Chiefs' snaps for the remainder of the season. Chiefs obviously managed his snap count. They did not have to give the Titans a fourth. Instead, they gave the Titans a fifth, because of course they did. And so not only did they get the conditional fifth-round pick, but they had to eat some of the money on DeAndre Hopkins' contract too. Hop's a better player, more consistent player, more reliable than Calvin Ridley is. So if you get a conditional sixth that could become a fifth, I still think it's worth it just to get that get rid of the contract, get rid of the experiment. I feel is over. And so if you have to take less to do it, that's fine. Belvis says a fifth is not worth it. You're not getting more than a fifth for any player that you have to trade. Best case scenario, you get a conditional fifth. You know what I'm saying? Like Ridley, nobody is giving you a fourth for Calvin Ridley with that contract unless you eat all of the salary. And theoretically, you could eat the rest of his salary, but you're not. Who on this football team is worth a fourth-round pick? Any of them? Jeff, and maybe you argue Cam, but we'll just keep Cam out of this conversation. That's not how this works. It's like a car that you drive off the lot when you buy it new, guys. Like once you start to put miles on that the value craters. So yeah, Jeff Simmons is worth a second-round pick, maybe a first, if he's completely healthy. Right now, he's not. If he was, he'd be out there. But Calvin Ridley is not netting you a fourth. That would be insane. If they could get a fourth-round pick for Calvin, do it today, do it yesterday. Not worth a fourth-round pick. He's wildly unreliable, and he's expensive, and he's old, and he's got 2 years left on his deal. Y'all are living in a fantasy world if you think that Calvin Ridley is worth a fourth-round pick at this point in time. Jeffrey Mullen says, "Damn, it's that bad." Yeah, guys, I know some of you aren't watching it at this point, and I don't blame you, but if you've paid any attention to the Calvin Ridley experiment at all, you don't want him. Would you give up a fourth-round pick for Calvin Ridley? Having watched all of Calvin Ridley here, no, I bet you wouldn't. So if you wouldn't do it, why would another team, especially a team that's in contention? Because teams that are in contention usually don't have that much cap flexibility. So not only are they going to have to eat a bunch of money, the Titans, to get to a conditional fifth, they're going to have to take lesser value. It's just not sensible. Now, I saw T'Vondre Sweat. I think that it's very a real scenario that even if Sweat is not traded before Tuesday, that T'Vondre Sweat is not on this team for long because he wasn't drafted by the current general manager. And I know you probably think that's stupid, but you thought the Jarvis Brownlee trade was stupid. I thought the Jarvis Brownlee trade was stupid. I would think it was stupid if they traded Sweat. I think that they are going to try because this was a situation where the current general manager, or rather the former general manager, the previous general manager, Rand Carthon, went out of his way to go out and make sure that this guy was as bought in as humanly possible before they spent the 38th overall pick on him. And then they fired that general manager the year after that draft. And now you have a person who is very much undoing a lot of what Rand Carthon did, right or wrong. Jarvis Brownlee, Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed soon thereafter, even though Brinker and Borgonzi, who are currently in these roles, were also, as I would argue, they're more responsible for L'Jarius Sneed being here on either side of that trade than Rand Carthon was. But you're the general manager, you wear the title, you take the brunt of that criticism. That's fine. Jimmy says, why don't they like Sweat? He's pulling his own. Yes, so was Brownlee. I mean, they would probably, in an honest moment, if you gave them truth serum, tell you that they don't like his work ethic and that they're looking for guys who do more than just show up on Sundays. But they also need guys who show up on Sundays. And if you have to find different ways to motivate them, or if you have to find different ways to speak, to get through to him on the work ethic stuff, then go find somebody who will. But they don't do that here. They opt out. They say Jarvis Brownlee's too much of a hassle for us to deal with, even though he's a starting corner as a 5th round pick. Let's trade him for less. Okay, are you just in a position to be giving away defensive backs right now when you don't have any and you're relying on Sneed at his in his current situation? No. You thought that meant maybe Roger McCreary might get re-signed. No, they don't like that kind of corner either. So I don't know what their prototype of a corner is, but it's neither of the players that they had on this roster. And so they've moved on from both of them. Sweat, whether it's at the trade deadline or in the offseason or, before his time is over in Tennessee, I believe that they would try to move him if possible. I don't agree with that decision. I'm not saying that they should, but I'm saying that he's cheap and that he's talented enough, and a team who has better infrastructure will probably say, yeah, if you guys can't manage him or whatever that means, we'll take him. And he's not, I don't think he's an overwhelming problem. I just think that the guy that was there to help foster and facilitate his development got shit canned. And so now they don't want to deal with it, which is unfortunate at this point. Because you need T'Vondre Sweat, you need Jarvis Brownlee, you need Roger McCreary, and they're giving all of these players away. So I think they're going to take whatever deals they can get. And if you made me bet, and this is just a guess, speculation at this point in time. And I think I may have brought this up with you guys the other night. If you made me bet over under 1.5 deals before Tuesday, I'd say under. I bet if one player gets moved, that's probably about it. Because again, a team has to want what they have. And I don't think that many people want what they have for the value that they're asking for, other than T'Vondre Sweat, because he's cheap. He's on a rookie deal at this point in time. He makes sense to move. That or Draymond Jones, who got another sack today. It's the 4th consecutive game with a sack for Draymond Jones. So he's a rental. He's on a prove-it deal. I'm sure he would be happy to get the hell out of here and play meaningful football. Although he's been a good soldier about it, and they had a really good rush plan today, and they got 6 sacks to their credit. Draymond Jones has been what I expected him to be. It's just they're so bad everywhere else that it hasn't mattered. So I would say Draymond Jones or T'Vondre Sweat, likely Draymond Jones. Ridley, I think they would love to get out from under. Somebody has to be willing to take Ridley. Chig is the other one. That is a popular name because he's on an expiring deal. And Robert, you might be able to speak to this. They're not going to move Mark Andrews now that they won, right? Now that Lamar's back, I would be stunned if they moved Mark Andrews. He's nodding his head no at this point in time. So, that doesn't mean that there aren't other tight ends that are going to be out there available. David Njoku's name has been floated around a lot with the Browns. And I don't know which team would be buying at that point in time. But I am, I don't necessarily agree with trading away Chig. I think that Chig hasn't been as consistent of a player, but he's also not getting targets. His passing game is broken, and I know that you're tired of leaning or waiting and wishing for potential and things like that to come to fruition, but I do think Chig's a playmaker in space, and they just don't do a very good job at getting him in space. Robert says Dallas Goddard is also on offer. The Jags buyers at tight end are reported to be the Jags and the Broncos. So could you see Chig Okonkwo? Chig Okonkwo wouldn't get traded in the division. I would be stunned. Denver a possibility. What does Denver have that would be on offer? Chig, if I remember correctly, was a 4th-round pick out of Maryland a couple of years ago. One of 2 4th-round picks. I think Haskins, and then it was Chig and Haskins, or Haskins and Chig. I can't remember exactly in 22. But Chig Okonkwo was asked about potentially being moved earlier this week. This was Wednesday when we spoke to him, and he had a pretty funny but also kind of, a pretty stark answer.
Has that been something that hits you at all? Is that something you reflect on at all?
Shit. I remember back when we first got out there, I was wondering who's going to be the last one standing, and shit, it's me. So that's got to stand for something that I've done here. So I think that's pretty cool. It is weird, all my friends are slowly fading away, but I'm happy for Roger and I'm happy for Jarvis, getting out and being able to, go take a talent somewhere else. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Just trying to play ball.
What do you think the future holds for you here? It's a
What
big
do I
week.
think?
This is a big week.
Shit, we'll see this week, man. I'm going to go out there and try to make sure I stay a Titan for life.
I'm going to go out there and make sure I try and stay a Titan for life. Chig Okonkwo had 2 receptions on 2 targets today for 10 yards. He had his longest reception of the day was 6 yards. A to Z Sports Prime Time is made possible by the wonderful people at True Math Fitness in the Gulch, where you go to get the best workout in Middle Tennessee in Worth Campbell, diehard Titans fan, at the Titans game today. He's at every Titans home game. God bless him. He's braver than, I'm paid to be there. Worth's not. He's a fan. He pays to be there like you. So you can commiserate about your football team. You can get the best workout in Nashville at TrueMathFitness.com for more details. Also made possible by Simon Says, the premier men's clothing spot in Nashville. Once you get your workout in, you start to feel a little better, start to look a little better. You can start to shop for new clothes. And Simon Says Nashville will provide you with an array of pieces that you will not find anywhere else, and they will be awesome. I promise you, when you go into Simon Says, you will be blown away. You can learn more about what they have on offer at simonsaysnashville.com for more details. So that's Chig with his best Clay Davis from The Wire impression. Shit. That whole compilation always makes me laugh. I wish we could play that on the radio show. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Clay Davis. Was Clay Davis the mayor?
Clarence is going to...
Or an embattled councilman. I can't remember exactly Clay Davis's role in The Wire. But it's something that I think, a team, Chig makes sense. He's on an expiring deal. Anybody on a 1-year deal or with 1 year remaining on their deal. Arden Key has still not played football in, weeks, a month at this point in time. Arden is somebody who makes sense. Any of the pass rushers. Jihad Ward is playing good football right now. Draymond Jones, as I mentioned. So any of those guys, those 3 guys make the most sense for a team to try and acquire. Draymond Jones is ironically the cheapest of them, and he is playing with the best. He's got the best production right now. All right, who you got tonight between the Bills and the Chiefs? It's come down to the wire, it seems, and we are keeping tabs on that 28-21 in favor of Buffalo at this point as the oh my God, how long was that field goal for the Jags? I saw that there was a 68-yarder hit today. But now we have a 23-20 situation for the Jags to tie it, a 48-yard attempt for the Jags to try and tie it with 20 seconds remaining in regulation. They're playing at Vegas right now, so we'll see if the Jags can at least force an extra period and try and get a win, or if the Raiders will be able to hang on for their 3rd win of the season. Pete Carroll is very upset about something, and I'm not sure what. I'm watching Red Zone with the sound off. Red Zone is disorienting enough as it is, but keeping tabs on this. Who you got between the Chiefs and the Bills as that game gets into the second half? Jags hit the 68-yarder, a new record says Robert. And it looks like they got the field goal to tie. So 23-23. 16 seconds left. Raiders do have all 3 timeouts, so it's possible that something could happen in that game. And Dalvin Cook breaking off a long run against the Chiefs defense in Buffalo to try and get this done. Now, if the Chiefs were to fall to 5-4, that would become a very interesting situation because we have not yet seen the Chiefs as a wild card, and the Broncos keep winning. Broncos won ugly today, and I almost called him Drew Lock. What's his name? Bo Nix. Bo Nix had a very ugly performance. 18-15 was the final. The Texans fall again. Bad, and CJ Stroud in the concussion protocol, which is not ideal. The Titans will see the Texans after the bye in Nashville. So we will see if CJ Stroud is back by then. But now you have a circumstance where the Chiefs are in danger of falling to 5-4 on the season. And I would be curious to see what the Chiefs look like as a wild card to Denver's division leading circumstance, because the Chiefs have done, or rather the Broncos have done well, regardless of how much you trust them. They've done well to build up this lead to give themselves the benefit of winning the division as Josh Allen gets stacked on 2nd and 10. I will take the Bills to be able to hold on here, not just because they're up, but because they do tend to win this game in the regular season. Chiefs have their number in the postseason, and I think anybody would hate to see the Chiefs as a wild card. But Buffalo typically does have a good plan to handle Kansas City, even if they have just suffered a setback on this last play. So I will take the Bills, at least in the regular season. But if it was a postseason game, I would absolutely pick the Chiefs. All right, a little bit of Sunday fun day, and we'll wrap this thing up for the evening. We'll wrap this thing up for the week because I am headed on vacation. I am going to be in Miami. I need the sun, I need the beach, and I need a break. So I'm going to do the radio show tomorrow and then leave you in Robert and Lucas and Ross, and I guess Easton will do the trade deadline Tuesday show. They will all handle the situation just fine, and you will probably look forward to a break from me for a period of time. And then when I come back, I will be refreshed, I will be rejuvenated, and we will gut our way through those last 7 weeks together of the Tennessee Titans. But I am looking forward to taking a little break, and I'm sure you guys are looking forward to having a weekend where you don't have to watch this team flounder about as they have in the last, well, basically the entire season outside of the fourth quarter in Arizona. So what's the best thing you saw this weekend? Sunday Funday, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You tell me, and I will remind you that nobody trashes Tennessee. Nobody trashes Tennessee.com. The Tennessee Department of Transportation reminds you to be a part of the solution to end littering. I saw a really cool story today. I can't remember if it was the Washington Post or the New York Times. I will endeavor to find that story for you because it was about a really cool story about a dude in South Florida, actually, where I'm headed this week in South Florida, who has picked up tons upon tons of trash to benefit the environment, to benefit his community, and he's done so unselfishly and done so with a smile on his face. He's cleared 3,500 pounds of trash from Miami's mangroves, and he isn't done yet. So just like Andrew Otazo in Miami, you can do that in the state of Tennessee. You can sign up for volunteer opportunities. You can learn how to organize your own cleanup situation yourself. You can do what I do. You can just get out there with a grabber and a big old 20-gallon trash bag and go pick up trash because it's therapeutic sometimes. I enjoy it. I put my headphones in. I'll listen to a podcast. I'll listen to some music. I'll take a lap and go pick up some trash because I hate litter. And so does the Tennessee Department of Transportation. Nobody trashes Tennessee.com for more details. All right. What's the best thing you saw this weekend? World Series was fun, says Ramen Will. Ramen Will? Ram and Will? I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation there is, but either way, World Series. Yes, congratulations to the Dodgers back-to-back. Went a little dramatic. A lot of extra baseball, a lot of extra innings, including last night where it went to 11 innings for the Dodgers to be able to get it done. I thought the Blue Jays were going to win. I was proven to be wrong, and Los Angeles gets to be champion again. So very cool. A fun baseball series. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'd be lying to you if I did. But I did enjoy dropping in on this series and paying attention to baseball for a brief moment in time and seeing some really unprecedented things, and certainly an unprecedented player. So best thing from the weekend is that there are talks about Heupel getting fired, says Zach Goodman. Well, talks from whom? I don't think that the University of Tennessee is going to fire Josh Heupel. I do think that fans were very displeased with the way that Josh Heupel handled that game last night against Oklahoma. They have loser leaves town, so they lose the opportunity to play in the college football playoff for a second consecutive year. By nature of that Oklahoma loss, it would be very, very difficult to envision them having a path forward. Vanderbilt's still alive despite losing at Austin yesterday, too. But no, I don't think there is any real talk of Josh Heupel getting fired, nor do I think there should be. Again, guys, if you fire Josh Heupel, I say that like that's a conversation we've had to have. So think about it this way. Hugh Freeze got fired today. James Franklin's been fired. Billy Napier's been fired. Who else? Brian Kelly has been fired. Mike Gundy has been fired, right? There's like $185 million worth of buyouts that have been paid so far in this college football season, and we are just over the halfway point. So I think that if you were to fire your coach this year, for example, you would be what? Are you a better job than LSU? I don't think so. Are you a better job than Florida? Maybe there's a conversation to be had there. A better job than Penn State? Yeah, I think there's a conversation to be had there. But like, you want to be the best job if you're going to have a job opening. And you are also, you have to do better than Josh Heupel. And you spent 2 decades not doing better than Josh Heupel. And I'm not saying that you should have to settle. And I do think that he deserves criticism for the way that he managed the game, especially late yesterday. And Joey Aguilar did them no favors with the amount of turnovers that he had in the first half of that game. That was going to put themselves, they were going to put themselves in bad position if that was going to be the case anyway. But no, I don't think that there's no real conversation to be had around Josh Heupel this year. Of course not. The best thing I saw today was the Bears win. The Bears win 47. What was it? 47-42? 47-42 in Cincinnati. Joe Flacco and Caleb Williams combined for over 1,000 yards of offense. Outrageous that they were able to do just that, especially Joe Flacco at his age. But Ben Johnson and the Bears get the win and had a pretty cool post-game speech after the fact.
Oh, yeah!
Hold up a second. Hold up a second. Oh, no, I found it. 5 right there! 5 wins, man! Halfway point, 5-3, and I know it wasn't pretty. But don't apologize for a win in this league, guys. Don't apologize. We did what we had to do. We said we had to go 3-1 in the second quarter, and we did that. Yes, sir. We'll talk about the next quarter coming up tomorrow. Don't worry about that quite yet, all right? Enjoy this win. It took all 60 minutes for that one. Here's what I know about this group. Here's what I know. If it is close in the fourth quarter, you better watch out. All right? Now, with that said, we got 2 game balls here, all right? First one's going to be this. 26 carries. Calvin Lunga, 176 yards. 6.8 average.
I appreciate everybody in this room, man. It's my first start. Nobody knew what I was going to do, but I told you I was going to step up to the plate, whatever I got to do to get there.
Yes, sir. 6 catches. 118 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, bro. Like, this is so fun. We got to keep winning. Just keep going in, working every day. Yes, sir. And let's keep it rolling. Yes,
Okay, we don't need to see the whole thing, even though we watched most of it. It's really cool to see what the Bears are doing. Ben Johnson is who the Titans thought they were hiring, and Brian Callahan. Ben Johnson declined the opportunity to interview with the Titans because he did not like the situation here. Turns out he was right. All right, that's going to do it for us this week. Have a great remainder of your week. I hope you guys have a restful and relaxing bye week. I hope you get to enjoy all of the football.
Wait. Before we go, we gotta figure out what's that song that goes bwah 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 bwah. If you were in the audience right now, help me find out what the song is that does that. Wham, 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 wham.
You know what else we have to figure out?
Huh.
Why it looks like something is on fire at your apartment, because there's a significant amount of smoke that's drifting in front of your light fixture back
Oh, no, something's on fire.
Oh, you idiot. You're not slick. That's going to do it for us tonight. I think I would like to go start a fire in my house of some form or fashion. So I will leave you to it. I will tell you to have, like I said, a fantastic bye week. I will enjoy the beach. I hope you enjoy whatever you're going to do. And we will see you next Sunday when we return from vacation on A to Z Sports Primetime. Come hang out with Robert, with Lucas, with me on the radio show. Ben Jones, Brett Kern, the whole gang will be there tomorrow, and then I will take the rest of the week off. See you guys.
I mean, if we keeping a buck right now, we ass. So